Hello, geometry students. It's Mr. Zabo, and what we are going to be talking about today is paragraph proofs. So far, we have done a few proofs, not a lot yet, but the only proofs that we've done, in two-column proof format. What we're going to do today is talk about paragraph proofs. Um, vast majority of proofs that we are going to do in this class are going to be in two-column proof format. However, as you get further along in mathematics, especially as you get into kind of college courses, if you're going to be studying anything in the mathematical fields, you will be asked to do proofs, and the vast majority of those will be in paragraph proof form, more like writing papers than writing two-column proofs and formatting them that way. So we do want to expose you to them in this class to get started. The key here is the same things as writing a good English paper. We've got to have a good introduction, a good body, and a good conclusion. So we have to include our given conditions or any conclusion that we can draw from the diagrams. Needs to be as part of our introduction. The body is going to be our chain of logic, all of our basically our if-then statements that we are going to follow through from the given information. And then our conclusion has to be to summarize the proof. So we're going to do a couple examples together here. And the key is the conclusion has to state, therefore, we can conclude, and then state our conclusion. So let's go ahead and look at our first example. This one's going to be a little bit short, but it'll get us a good kind of introduction into the concept of paragraph proofs. So we have been given that angle A is 47 3/4 degrees. We have been given that angle Y is 47 degrees and 45 minutes. Therefore, we have to prove that angle X is congruent to angle Y. So as we think through this, we need to think through how we're going to do this. And one of the things that we want to recognize is that that is the same measure. But we're going to have to, within the body of our proof, somehow state that those are the same measure and show that mathematically. Then we can conclude that the angles are congruent. In this case, our introduction can be just one sentence. Sometimes it might be a little bit more, might be a second or third sentence, but in this case, just the quick introduction, this is what we were given. Then we can get into the body of the proof. Again, in this quick example, the body is just one sentence. And it's going to be kind of how are we going to connect these two things? Since there are 60 minutes in 1 degree, then 47 3/4 degrees is equal to 47 degrees 3/4 of 60 minutes, which is 45 or 47 degrees and 45 minutes. The last statement we make is our conclusion, and it's kind of a combination of the if-then, or the statement and the reason for the last statement if it was a two-column proof. And again, for this example, it's a one-sentence conclusion. Okay? This shows that the measure of angle X is equal to the measure of angle Y. Since they both have the same measure, we can conclude that angle X is congruent to angle Y. So again, our proof statement is the last statement we've made. That is the conclusion that we've made, and we've supported that with evidence. The angles have the same measure. The measure of angle X equals measure of angle Y, so the angles are congruent. We don't need the full if-then statements. This is one example of a paragraph proof here. There's infinite ways that we could have worded this a little bit different here or there, maybe even a completely different sentence, but this is perfect in its simplicity. It's perfect in its length. If you had it a little bit longer, if you had worded it a little bit different, it doesn't mean it's any less perfect. Okay, so you just have to be kind of cautious with how you write this out, but making sure that we hit all of those key points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I want you to write a paragraph proof, but we're going to use it sparingly here, like I mentioned, but later on you're going to use it a lot. I want you guys to try to write a paragraph proof to prove that angle D is congruent to angle C in this diagram. And I'm going to slowly unpause. When you guys are done, you unpause, check, but I'm going to kind of go introduction, body, conclusion as far as how I'm going to write it. And know that your words do not have to match verbatim with my words. Once again, a one-sentence, simple introduction sentence here. Now we have to try to connect the dots to get to our conclusion, and that'll be the body of our paragraph. So this does show that both the angles are obtuse, since an angle greater than 90 degrees is obtuse. But if you got this far and now you're stuck, good for you. This doesn't mean that the angles are congruent. There's not enough information in this proof or in our given information or in our diagram to draw any more conclusions. There's no logical step we can take next to get to these being congruent angles. That can happen. It won't happen a lot, but it can happen in our class. When it does, it'll typically be in a paragraph proof form where we'll have you guys make that, and not in every paragraph proof, so don't expect every paragraph proof is going to have no conclusion. But I can't picture any problems that we have two-column proofs that there is no conclusion. Doesn't mean there isn't going to be any, but I can't remember any off the top of my head. So we do still need a summary or a conclusion on this, and so we would state something along these lines. Therefore, we cannot prove these angles are congruent with this given information. We do want to specify that it can't be proven with this information. If we had other information, maybe we could. Okay? So the last thing I'm going to mention is this could be a great sometimes, always, never question. I know we just had a few of those on our quiz, but if I said in an example, if the measure of angle D is obtuse and the measure of angle C is 120 degrees, does that mean they are congruent? And the answer would be sometimes. If the obtuse angle is 120 degrees, then yeah. But if it's not, then it's not true. Okay? And there's counterexamples. Measure of angle D. If I said measure angle D is obtuse, measure angle C is 120 degrees, well, what if measure of angle D was 150 degrees? That's not true. Okay? If it was 120 degrees, that is true. So sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true. Okay, so you got to be real careful, kind of think of counterexamples when you're trying to do a sometimes, always, never question. All right, that's it for section 1.6. We're going to get a little bit of practice with this when we get back in person in class, or at least virtually in class.